went to Tokyo Game Show 2025. It was my first time ever going to a convention this big, so I recruited some help. We were both pretty overwhelmed by how busy the hall was right from the start. Waves of people lining up to get in, right when the hall opened, no less. It seemed like this year was the highest attendance Tokyo Game Show has ever had. You can certainly tell from some of these clips. Thankfully, the weather was really nice out, so it wasn't too overwhelming at first. Mind the at first. Eventually we got our wristband. I brought my Hina along with me for emotional support, which I often need in big crowds. We started out at the Indie Games Hall, which is actually the smallest and least crowded of the halls. But unlike the rest of the event, there were tons of indie developers all vying for our attention, with demos and prizes and a chance to speak with people in the industry. It was really interesting to talk with so many people and so many different kinds of developers, as well as seeing all the work that had gone into the different booths. They ranged from insanely intricate to a simple display of the game, but each looked so unique and interesting. On this floor, too, were different gaming-related products, including this Yuki Sakuna room display. I was really excited to see the room they set up. It gave me a lot of ideas for my own desk. I did ultimately end up getting the Pixio pastel pink monitor. It's super cute and the display is really nice. I love seeing more pastel and cute gaming products after years of bright and gaudy neon reds and blues. Pixio's doing such a nice job. The banana yellow room was really cute too. This one was a little strange to me. It's a pillow designed for sleeping with a VR headset on. And here's a little snippet of me testing out different keyboards. They probably got several billion strains of bacteria because I have not yet learned to keep my hands to myself. This game was super cute. The main girl's design reminded me a lot of a VTuber. We didn't have enough time to understand the greater purpose, but it seems like we're guiding sheep to sleep to upgrade our room. Kind of like an idle game. We got a cute tech key for testing it out though. And look at these really cute cosplayers next to the booth. This publisher had a massive booth for all their games, themed around a little magical library. The game demos were set up around the center, and they showcased all the games in these little book replicas. It was such a cute concept for showing off their work. I tried 2 of the game demos. Both were rhythm-style games with a twist. This one had really cute art with the main girl turning into a magical DJ, I think. Although it was hard to tell where the hitbox was when her sleeves got bigger, so I ended up missing a bunch of notes. The next one was really rhythm heaven inspired, which I was also pretty bad at, but the music and visuals are really cute. It seemed very solid for a demo. As a reward for wishlisting some of them on Steam, we got an entrance to a spooky cauldron room. Where we were allowed to take one little charm. It reminded me a lot of Halloween trick-or-treating. Of course, our charm was matching. The Gacha game Brown Dust 2 had a booth here where guests could order drinks. The tavern-style booth looked really cute, and they were handing out free water for everyone passing by, which I think was really nice. There was also some kind of VR demo, but I didn't stay long enough to see exactly what it was about. We began to make our way towards the main halls, which are about 10 times as crowded as the indie hall. Many booths gave free handouts, pamphlets, and goodies, so we brought spare tote bags to store all the stuff we had already gathered. It was beginning to feel heavy, and we weren't even halfway through all the halls. This is what I meant about the crowds being really overwhelming. During the height of the show, the crowds were so dense it was nearly impossible to see where you're headed. Because of this, I wasn't really able to try a lot of the demos or get in front of crowds, and a lot of lines were several hours long. There's nothing I hate more than standing in lines. Despite all this, the intricate booths with so much jam-packed into every corner, there's no shortage of amazing things to look at. Just straight eye candy wherever you're looking. I mean, look at how stunning the Neo 3 display was. Getting to see that is worth way more than standing in line for a demo. But speaking of eye candy, this is when I finally encountered the Nikkei booth. For one of the smaller displays, it was by far the one that drew the most crowds. I had doubled back a couple times too, and each time there was like a different rotation of cosplayers shown. It was absolutely insane. It was one of the very few booths I regret not getting in line for, come to think of it. Back in the indie hall, there were also a couple merch stands selling Nikkei goods. I kind of fell in love with the designs, and that's how I initially started streaming Nikkei. I never expected to fall in love with it as much as I did though. Back in the main hall, I made my way towards the Zeta division booth. Directly across from it was the Atlas stage VJs and performances of a bunch of different Sega IPs. The Zeta Division booth was where the Twitch Partner Lounge was being held, and it was a little bit of an oasis in the busy, overcrowded desert for me. I really wanted this bear, but they ended up giving it to a more famous streamer. They gave out free food and drinks, as well as a comfy couch to sit on. The booth actually had some of the best views of the hall, with the lounge being up a flight of stairs that gave it an air view. There were also a lot of famous Japanese esports streamers here, and people were congregating all around the booth just to get a glimpse of them. I felt a little strange sharing the same space as them, honestly. Next to the Zeta Division booth was the booth for Miru, an upcoming Gacha game that also ended up going pretty viral online for this LCD display. When I say it was towering over the crowd, that would be a bit of an understatement. The girls were absolutely gorgeous though, and I can see why people were so excited to test out the game with those assets. I looked back towards the Sony booth when the Persona 5 concert started and watched a little bit of the performance. It was cool. Battlefield 6 was one of the few names I had heard about several times before the event, and there was indeed a pretty robust booth for the game. But the booth exterior is basically one fake brick box, so it wasn't very exciting to look at, and I couldn't judge much of it. I was actually way more excited to see all the different cosplayers around the booths. I was really impressed by the quality of the different outfits I saw, and they were really such a cute addition to the different booths. TGS showcasers, hire more cosplayers. They're cute and fun to wave at. I'll probably never end up trying any of these games myself, but seeing cute girls in the wild is a good way to market yourself. At least if you ask me. Most of the cosplayers were for different Gacha games. It was a little surprising how much of the hall was dedicated to upcoming Gacha games, especially open world Gachas. A lot of them feel very referential to previous Gacha games, especially Genshin. I wonder how they'd plan to stand out amongst the crowd when they ultimately release. After all, these games are a huge investment, and they want us players sticking around for a long time, so each new Gacha game is like a brand new commitment. Out of all the kinds of games on the market, I feel like Gacha games really are the hardest sell, at least long term. But all the promotional material I got was really cute. There was this Monster Hunter game that I couldn't really make heads or tails of. It looks like it's been in development for a while, with very little information public. I don't even think it had a demo. I think it was just this display and photos. Weird, right? Union Denpa Syndrome was one of the few games I was looking forward to seeing at TGS. It's made by the same team behind Needy Streamer Overdose, and the main character is voiced by Nanahira. It's also a rhythm game, and they gave me sticker packs. Yay! By the time I was ready to head out, I was a bit overwhelmed, and I didn't really grab much more footage. My arms were tired with all the bags I had to carry. All in all, I think I got something like 20,000 steps in. It was a really fun experience, and I hope I can go back next year, and that Twitch will give me a teddy bear next time. If you'd like to support me making more ASMR, please consider joining my YouTube memberships. You'll get early access to all my videos and high-quality versions of the art you see used in my thumbnails. I'd really appreciate the support. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.